Okay, we're going to look at the Mantle clock EPS file in this tutorial. Going to look at the two stages on how to firstly edit the image to ensure that you've got the right size to fit the ply back plate for the Mantle clock, and then secondly we're going to look at a second tutorial which will look at how to correctly vectorize the image and turn it into an EPS file so the laser can read it. Alright, first thing you need to do, open up Photoshop. You'll be going to File, New, because we're creating a new canvas. The first thing we do, we need to go down to here where it says pixels per inch. We're going to change that to pixels per centimeter, and that needs to be 100 pixels per centimeter. So pixels per centimeter, set it to 100, leave everything else the same, click Create. We have our artboard here. Alright, now we need to change our canvas size so it fits the right width and height of our backing plate. So I'm going to say width. I need the width to be 20 centimeters or 200 millimeters, and the height to be 21.5 centimeters or 215 millimeters, because that's about the size of our Mantle clock. Everything else looks right, and I'm going to hit OK. Alright, it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to zoom out for that until we've got our artboard there. So if you look up at the ruler, from 0 till about 20, just over that. Alright, now we're going to import our image. So I've got my images saved on my desktop, so I'm literally just going to grab the image that I want to make, and I'm going to drop it into my Photoshop app, make it full screen again. Now that's set into free transform. Now if I wanted to change the size of that without losing the ratio,
Ready to work.
You hold down Shift whilst you're changing the size. I can't possibly change it to either making it too skinny or too fat. It keeps its shape to a perfect circle by holding down Shift. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to deselect, place the file. Yes, I want to place the file. Okay. Now when I go to make my actual final image on the back, I'm not going to have it this big because I want to have a little bit of free space between where the edge of my clock face will be and the rest of my ply backing plate. So if I wanted to do that now, I'm going to go into Edit, all the way down here to Free Transform, making sure that I've got the right layer selected. And then I'm just going to Shift, bring it down, and then just move my image into the center. Click off there, place my file, and that's looking a little bit better. Now if I go back to my background and I wanted to change the size of my background, let's write down and it says, you can see that free transform is grayed out. Now I can't change that until I change that to a smart object. So I'm going to convert that to a smart object. Now select it, see if we can change the shape there. Free transform is there. Okay, and that way if I wanted to bring in the canvas size to 200 millimeters, you can see the actual size pops up on the screen. I'm going to bring that in, and my canvas size should be the same. So if I go back into image, I'll click off that. Let's make that go back the way it was. Click off that, place that file. If I go back into my canvas size, double check our size. Okay, so it's gone to 21 and a half. We're going to just make that 20. Okay, proceed. Okay, that's looking better. So I have the actual image of the clock face for the Crimson Tide emblem is the center, and everywhere you see white will be the ply. But when we bring that into Adobe Illustrator, there's something that we have to change about that for it to recognize the white background, because Adobe Illustrator, when you use it to vectorize a file, will only pick up where white meets black. So if we were to port it over like this as it is, it will only bring in the circle shape of the Crimson Tide emblem. We need to change it so it's all inverted. So the white becomes black, and that way we get our frame to be exactly the size we need it to be for the laser to cut. Because remember, the laser is going to be cutting this file as well as etching the Crimson Tide in the center. So to do so, firstly just make sure that you're happy with the size of the clock, of the image for the clock face. I'm going to make mine just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to select, edit, free transform. Remember to hold shift, bring it down a bit, and then I'm going to recenter that. Click off it, place the file. Okay, I'm happy with that now. You need to also add in a black or a center piece right in the center of your image so you know where to drill in order to have the clock mechanism coming through the backside of the ply. So make sure that you either include a center piece there, or when you've finished printing or when you've finished etching the, when you get your back plate etched, you just simply come across, find the center, and then get a little lead pencil mark and cross it in the middle so you know exactly where to drill. Okay, I'm going to merge these two layers now, because one layer is literally just the Crimson Tide emblem, the other layer is the white background. I need both, so I'm going to shift, click on them both, right click, and I'm going to merge layers. So now you can see I have one layer. Now, the last step we need to do is invert that image so we get our border in Adobe Illustrator. If you do not invert the image, you will not get the border, and you'll have to do it again because the laser will only pick up the circle, not the frame for it to cut around the outside. To do so, make sure we've got our object selected. Click on the object, we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Invert. And you can see everything is now inverted. When we bring this file into Adobe Illustrator, it will pick up the difference between black and white in Illustrator right from the outside of our border, not from the center of the image. So that's now inverted. I'm going to File, save that to my desktop or any file that you want to save it to. Call that Crimson Tide. And we're going to save that. And in our next tutorial, click OK for that one. In our next tutorial, we'll look at how to vectorize that image.